So I did see this story about Uganda, the president essentially saying, "Hey, we'll take the immigrants from the US that you don't want as long as they don't have a criminal background." And you have some people that are saying, "Oh, they're trying to get rid of the black Americans. Oh, they're trying to go." Now, I did look into this a little bit further and we will definitely get into this story. But from what I'm seeing, this is in relation to immigrants who were from a different country. Let's just go and say you're Brazilians, for example. You are from Brazil. You say, "You know what? I'm going to go to America for a better life." You go to America, whether legally or I don't know, it's a little iffy. But you go to America and then they're like, "Okay, we're deporting you back." And you're like, I really don't want to go back to my home country because, ooh, I got ops, or, ooh, I don't want to go back. So Uganda is in the process of making a deal with the America, essentially going and saying, "Hey, somebody that fits that category, we have a preference for black people. We'll take anyone, but we have a preference for black people. But they cannot have a criminal record and they cannot be unaccompanied minors as well." Okay, so this is something that would be for people like that. This would not be necessarily, from my understanding of it, this would not be something that is for black Americans because you're not an immigrant to the country. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually take a look a little bit more into it. Okay, Uganda's Foreign Affairs Ministry has indicated that there is a deal in progress, so it's not set in stone, with the U.S. for third country nationals who are in the U.S., denied asylum, and don't want to, or for whatever the reason is, are unable to go back to their home countries, like I mentioned. Okay, it says according to the reports, the conditions for the deal would include the deportees don't have criminal histories, are not unaccompanied minors, and are preferably from other African countries. Okay. So whether you're African descent, they may, but other African countries in particular. Okay. It says Uganda's foreign ministry calls it a temporary agreement, i.e., we ain't keeping them permanently now. Okay. And that the two governments are still working out what essentially will happen with it. Now, some people go and say that they don't necessarily have the structure to continue to house. Okay. It's like, this is temporary. We'll do a little something, something, but we can't take everybody now. You can't take 2 billion people. We ain't doing all that now. We gonna take a percentage of that. Okay, but let's go and see what some people have to say in regards to this. Someone went and said he said that we will take ours. If they're not criminals, why are they being sent anywhere? This is so scary. So in other words, he's getting ready to start sending blacks back to Africa. Got it. Essentially, if you are black and an immigrant, and for some reason you ain't going back to your other country, that's essentially what that means. Sounds like human trafficking. So they're sending dark skinned Latinos to Uganda. No. Okay. Well, if they're African blacks, I mean, if they're like black Latinos, more than likely. That's what it seems like to me. Modern day slave trade, I don't care what anyone says. Keep telling y'all, if you don't have a 3-day go bag or 90 days worth of supplies, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on. Okay. And it's just been year after year after year. When you really look at the history of it all, just decades where it's just been getting worse and worse and worse for the American person. And now we've just reached a tipping point, in my opinion, where it's like, we're November, where them aliens at? It's just at a point where it's like, can I just see some aliens? Can y'all fix something? Okay, and I'm not just talking about the US, I'm talking about globally. Okay, can y'all just come here, just fix something? I don't know. Okay, y'all over here saying that y'all gonna like they were over here saying that these aliens are tall African American, resembling. I mean, I'm black, we black, can we be good? I mean, can we get some aliens at this point? Because it's just too much stuff going on. It's like a beheading, it's mass shootings constantly. People can't afford, people can hardly afford food. You go and look and see that people are living in, some people are living in those storage units. You're not supposed to legally, but it is what it is. You have some people who are living in storage units, people living in cars. Then cops are saying, no, you can't live in your car. So now you're like, well, where can I go? I don't know. Go and get a house somewhere. I can't afford it. We'll go over here and get an apartment. My credit is crap and I can't afford it either. We'll go in the shelter. Those aren't safe and they're dirty. I don't care. You just can't live in your car that you're paying for on the street. Well, can I go to a parking lot? No, because we're going to follow you. You can't live there either. Well, can I go on the street and just be homeless there? Nope, because we're going to take you off the street and, like one politician said, do some things to you, and it's like people can't even put a roof over their head. People's water is poisoned. Food is poisoned. It's like at this point, where y'all at, y'all? Can we see a spaceship? Because at this point, I don't know what to say. Okay, it's just too much that is going on. It's just way too much that is going on, though. But at the end of the day, it's like people are just at a tipping point. People are really at a tipping point where it's like you're the brokest that you've been. You can barely afford gas. Food has gotten just increasingly high. We got all these identity politics that are going on, and it's like, can we get some of the big stuff out of the way? How about healthcare not tied to your employer and healthcare prices being lowered? And it's like it's just so much stuff that's going on, and then you got some like this where, I mean, if you are a part of the illegal immigrants that are here, then it's like, well, I escaped here because I was broke and I came here, and then now I can't, do what I want to do here. So where can I go? And it's like, it's like one thing after the next in regards to everything. But let me know what you all think about this down below.